Good evening. I'm B.J. Maloney with the Palm Harbor Historical Society, and tonight we're going to have a glimpse of the past through the eyes of Bob and Mae Noell. They traveled a territory from Buffalo, New York, as far south as Cuba. They advertised themselves as the world's only athletic ape show and claimed to be the funniest show on earth. Mae was born to vaudevillians Anna Roach, who was a musician and tap dancer, and Jack Struther Roach, who was a blackface comedian, ventriloquist, and lecturer. Later, they had a family-type medicine show and did a little barnstorming. Bob was born in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia, and at the age of 12, he joined Doc Ettling's medicine show and learned to be a blackface comedian, juggler, balancer, and magician. Mae and Bob eloped in 1931 and began what turned out to be 31 years of traveling and making lots and lots of people happy. Brooks McNamara, professor of drama at the New York University and director of Schubert Archives, says of Mae Noell, I quote, "She's a veteran medicine show and carnival worker, entertainer, historian, and artist. She is a living encyclopedia of the customs and tradition of the outdoor amusement business and is one of America's treasures." Before we chat with Bob and Mae, we want to show you a small portion of what you would have seen in 1939 had you paid your 20 cents, gone to the Barnes store in Dam Neck, Virginia at 8 o'clock to see Noell's Ark on Wheels. May I present Bob Noell and Sambo.
Sammy, how do you feel tonight?
Pretty daggone good.
Well, that's good. Did you ever get up before a large crowd of ladies and gentlemen like this and make a speech?
I certainly did.
Where at?
Down at the Kodos.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, did you ever address a large audience?
No, they're all dressed when they come to the show.
That's not what I mean. I'm going to teach you how to make a speech. First you say, ladies and gentlemen.
Gentlemen and ladies.
No. The ladies are always before the gentlemen.
Not around here, though. The ladies are all after the gentlemen, doggone it.
Well, you say it anyway. Say, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and your other sons are gone.
No. It's ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and coffee tot dodgers.
Say, we wish to extend our sincere thanks.
We hope you skin your shins and shank.
No. Say, we hope and trust.
Hope you all bust.
Not bust, it's trust.
Well, if you trust, done, if you don't dust.
No, that's not on me. Say, we hope and trust.
Hope and trust we will not dust.
No, that our efforts to please you meet with your hearty approbation.
Hope you go home and eat apples in the basement, doggone it.
No. Well, Sammy, another thing, did you ever go to school?
Certainly did.
How far?
2 miles.
No. I mean, how high up in school did you get?
I got clean up on the roof and climbed up on a daggone chimney.
That's not what I mean. How were you in spelling?
Can't smell a daggone thing.
I didn't say smell, I said spell. I want you to spell the word milk.
Can't even say it.
Can't? Well, I'll teach you how. First letter in milk is M.
M.
That's right. Now what's next?
That's what I want to know.
It's M-I.
I got 2 I's.
No, it's M-I-L-K.
K.
No. What does that spell?
Daggone it, I know.
What is it that you get from a cow?
Get a darn good kick, you ain't careful.
No. Don't you get milk from a cow?
No, you got to take it away from her.
You don't understand. What is it all the men put in their coffee every morning for breakfast? Whiskey. Oh, no such a thing. Well, if you went to school, what is a table of money of the United States?
I didn't know no money on a table.
The table of money reads like this. 10 mills is 1 cent.
10 nil, 1 cent.
That's right. 10 cents is 1 dime.
10 cent, 1 dime.
And 10 dimes is $1.
10 dimes, $1.
And $10, 1 golden American eagle.
It ain't that way around Palm Harbor.
How is it around Palm Harbor?
10 nil, 1 cent.
That's right.
10 cent, 1 dime.
That's right.
10 dimes, $1. $1, 1 drink. 10 drinks, 1 drunk. 1 drunk, 10 days in jail.
Well, listen, how are you in spelling?
Pretty daggone good.
And singing, can you sing?
I'm a daggone good singer.
Well, listen, I want you to sing us a little song.
Took me in jail the other day singing a song
Where?
down Clearwater.
Well, it must have been a bad song you're singing.
Not a daggone good song.
What was the name of it?
Shortening Dread.
Shortening Bread. When was you singing that song?
2 o'clock GM.
What do you mean 2 o'clock GM?
2 o'clock good morning.
You mean 2 o'clock in the morning. No wonder you coming down the middle of the street, all lit up 2 o'clock in the morning, singing. They got you for disturbing the peace.
I know they got rid of something.
What'd they do?
Next morning, the quoted judge.
What did the judge say?
He said, young man, what you got here for?
What'd you tell him?
I said, Judge, they got me called. I couldn't hold on that son of a gun.
What did he say then?
He said, no, what's the charges?
And what did you tell him?
I said, I don't charge you nothing, Judge. Hope you'll do me the same.
What did he say then?
He said, why are you here?
Oh, then what?
I said, Judge, I just sung a little song.
Did the judge have you sing it for him?
Certainly did.
Well, let's have it like you had to sing it for the judge.
Put on the skillet, put on the lid, straight down and go to make a little shortening dread.
Well, what did the judge say then?
He said, young man, you can't sing that song.
Could the judge sing?
That son of a gun outsung me.
How did the judge sing it?
$10 for the skillet, $10 for the lid, 30 days in jail for singing shortening dread.
Oh, thank you, Bob. That was good. How long have you been doing this?
Since 1925.
That takes a lot of practicing, didn't it?
Lost it all, too.
No, you haven't. May I hear there's an interesting story about this particular dummy, Sambo. Could you tell us about
I'd
it?
like to elaborate on one thing he just said. He drove me nearly insane while he was practicing. He practiced for a long time before to study, but while we were going down the road, he was holding his lips steady and practicing. Couldn't afford a dummy, was just working on it and finally got a dummy. But this dummy did belong to my father.
That's when I got you.
And we were in New York City, and times were really hard. And my father was moonlighting by going to all these amateur contests that they had in the theaters that you've heard other people talk about, I'm sure. And he would take home the $2 or the $3 prize, which was, top prize was $3, $2 second prize, $1 for the...
What was this year?
This was 1926. And he was working in a factory, and at nighttime he would run out to these contests and bring home an extra $1 or $2. Well, one night he was extraordinarily tired, and he rode a taxi home, and he accidentally left the suitcase in the taxi. And all of the scrambling that you ever saw anybody do, because on the road this was his livelihood. And he put ads in the paper. We called a cab company. Nothing. We never did find the dummy. And a friend of his made him a dummy out of paper mache. I didn't know this until just recently. For 25 years went by, and Bob sees an ad in the billboard, dummies for sale. So we went to see this man, and he had some dummies and he had some marionettes, and we bought all of them. One was a trunk full of 11 dummies. The other one was a trunk full of 8 or 10 marionettes. So we bought the whole shebang and brought it home, and we kept taking the dummies out and playing with them and examining them to see which one he would fall in love with and use as his own. And the very bottom was this dummy, and believe me, I remembered him because there's only one of a kind of these things. They're handmade, and there's no other one anywhere like him. And when I was 3 years old, I remember that figure, and remembered it until 1926, which would make me about 12 or 13 years old at the time. So when he disappeared, it was like somebody in the family had died, and there this dummy was in the bottom of the trunk. And I took it out and started crying, and I said, Bob, if Daddy says this is Terry, can Daddy have this dummy? He said, look, with all these dummies, I don't care, give it to him. So I hid this one. When my father came, we showed him all these wonderful dummies, and he made each one of them say something, you know. And finally, when he got finished with playing with them, I said, there's somebody over here I'd like you to meet, Dad. I don't think you've seen for a while. And I went over and took the dummy out and showed it to him. He broke down and cried. He says, Terry, you old son of a gun, where have you been all these years? And Terry said, don't blame me, you stupid jerk. You're the one that lost me. And so we gave him the dummy, And when my daddy died in 1962, they asked me if there's anything that Daddy had that I wanted. I said, if it'll hurt anybody's feelings, no. But if nobody cares as much as I do about the dummy, I'd love to have him. And when I got him, he was completely demolished. Everything you see on that dummy, I did. This is chamois that I had to fix on him. I painted him over. I bought a new wig for him and everything. So that's my daddy's dummy. A wonderful story. I think that he stayed away so long, but he came back before my daddy died.
Well, how did Terry become Sambo?
Well, all of Bob's dummies are Sambo,
Oh.
and all of my dad's dummies were Terry.
Well,
His
Sambo
name is-
Terry looks pretty good to me. He looks real spiffy here, I tell you.
His name was Terry O'Neill.
Well, y'all were in a medicine show, family-type medicine show as a child, and later when you got married, you progressed toward that too. Could you tell me exactly what the medicine show was?
There was no difference between medicine show and vaudeville, except what I spoke to you a while ago. The chorus line was not a part of the medicine show, and the medicine sales were not a part of the vaudeville. But other than that, they were identical. They had the after pieces, the bits, the single acts, everything was the same. The only difference is that the medicine show sold medicine, and the vaudeville show may have sold candy, but that was a sort of a rarity. The vaudeville show was in theaters, and the medicine show was usually outdoors on their own platform on some big outdoor lot. And they have things up in around Washington. What is it, that big park? That's the sort of arrangement that we had. It was big, open air arrangement, no seats. They stood, it was a standing audience, and they stood for as much as 2 hours to watch the show because it was a lot of fun.
Well, I heard that the medicine back then was mostly alcohol.
No, back before then.
Before then?
Yes, 1906, the Pure Food and Drug Act came into being, and at that time they wiped out all of the skullduggery that was, practically all of it. And some of the bottles that I have are bottles that started back then, but that they changed their label to comply with the law, and they eliminated the alcohol. But some of the old timers before 1906 even bragged. One outfit, one performer told me about a show that he was with, and he said that everybody was called in for what they called medicine rehearsal, and they had to come up to the hotel room, and the guy didn't even clean the tub out. It was a bathtub, and they poured tons of alcohol in it and some coloring matter and some other stuff, and they had gone around the lot and picked up the empty bottles that they had sold the night before, just threw them in there and filled them up, stuck a cork in them, stuck a label on them, and went out and sold them. And there's no wonder that people were getting sick from this stuff.
Or worse.
And they'd stand right there on the lot and drain the bottle and throw it on the ground. They'd use the bottle over again. So this law had to come into being.
Yeah, in 1906.
Right, to protect people. Well, I wasn't born until 1914. He was born in 11, and we didn't have a medicine show until the 20s and 30s. So when we came along, the act had been cleaned up.
Now, where did you get your medicine from?
There is an outfit in Cincinnati that is still in business, that still sells patent medicine that can be bought with the plain bottle, and they'll mail you your own label.
Well, you have quite an array of medicine bottles down here. Really a nice selection. We have Moxie's tonic, Pluto's concentrated spring water, Old Indian liver and kidney. Did any of these work?
Well, the only thing, we don't have any of our bottles there, unfortunately.
These are all pre-1906, is that right?
Yes, most of them. And the artifacts that you see in front of the bottles are the candy prizes that we gave away. And
Now, how did you get those?
the way they were given out was you bought a 10-cent box of candy, and you might get a blanket. 1 out of every 10 packages had a coupon on it.
Like one of these blankets to the side?
Yeah.
Those are beautiful.
They're not doing anything. Oh, they call that piece over there cloth of gold. And this is supposed to be cloth of gold, and so is that. And they're table covers. And some of the monk's cloth is material that we had. And the bottles are bottles that go way back. In fact, that Vaseline bottle down there has 5 cents on it, so you can imagine
Oh,
how
my
long
goodness.
ago that was. And the little binoculars and the camera and the beaded bag and the metal bank and the other things all were part of the candy prizes.
Well, the one I'm really, really interested in is this beautiful belt down here.
Yeah, the wonderful electric belt.
Heidelberg's electric belt, and that's out of the Sears Roebuck catalog,
Right.
too.
This is at the turn of the century. You can tell that much by the style of hairdo and the mustache that the man has on. They don't come right out and say it's an aphrodisiac, but that's exactly what it was touted to be. And the way it was sold, back then everybody was talking about galvanic batteries and the galvanic this and that and the other, because they didn't know much about electricity when this was coming along. So in order to make people think they were being shocked, whoever sold these wet those little metal discs and put red pepper on them so that they would sting a little bit. There's even a rheostat on that thing to make it look like you can turn it up and turn it down. And it was one of the biggest frauds, I guess, and that was, again, before 1906 when the Pure Food and Drug Act took place.
Well, I guess it's a blessing that they found out about this, but there's one thing I hope I can get my hands on is old-fashioned snake oil. It's double strength, recommended for corns, bunions, toothache, head and chest colds, sore throat, cuts and bruises, arthritis, headaches, and sore feet, from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet.
Yes, but that's on sale today.
I'm going to order me some. We're going to break right now, but we'll be back shortly with Mae's little friend, Mickey.
Hi, I'm Karina.
And I'm Mike. We are students at Countryside High School in Pinellas County, and we would like to invite you to attend Living History Days at Heritage Park on Thursday, May 8th.
And Friday, May 9th, from 10 a.m. until noon. Many students from local schools will be in pioneer costumes and will be reenacting life as it was in Pinellas County 100 years ago. You will see an old-time school in session,
Bread baked, clothes washed, ice cream churned, and old-time games played just as the early pioneers did when the county was young.
Once again, join us for the Living History Days at Heritage Park. You'll have lots of fun and it's free, and so are the tours through the historical homes at this beautiful 22-acre park.
Heritage Park is located at 11909 125th Street North in Largo. For more information, call 462-3474. See you May 8th.
And May 9th.
I'm going to open this segment with two pictures out of the book that's called The Gorilla Show, Noel's Art Gorilla Show, that Mae wrote in 1979. Well, she's been writing it for years, but she had it published then. They're interesting to me is their before and after pictures. And I want you to get a glimpse of them, and then I want Mae to explain before and after what.
Well,
And right here we have with us Mae and Bob Knowles out of costume, and Mickey.
And
So before and after what,
all right,
Mae?
BC was before chimps, and AC was after chimps. And before chimps, I used to wear high heels. I had nice long hair, and I wore dresses. And I looked just as normal as anybody, and so did my husband, with neckties and business suits and the whole works. And after we got chimps, he gave up neckties because he almost got choked to death by one. I gave up high heels because you can't run after an escaped chimp in high heels. The chimps used to like to see what was under the dresses, so I went to slacks. And the long hair was so handy for little chimps to pull on that I cut that off too. So that's why the BC and the AC, before and after.
Well, what first got you interested in taking in animals?
Oh, years ago when we first got married, well, we had a little boy after we'd been married 15 months, and the little fella died when he was 10 days old. And immediately after that, we were out on the road and we started picking up stray dogs. This was in 1932 when times were really hard. In fact, that was the period of the Grapes of Wrath story, if you remember. And little dogs were having people throw rocks at them and everything because they were turning garbage cans over that didn't have enough in them to feed a starving dog. And we'd pick them up and get them fat and find a home for them. And it wasn't long after we started doing that. We had, I don't remember how many dogs we gave away, found homes for. But it wasn't too long after that I was in the family way again. That's just like adopting something, you know, and you get that way again. And Now we have a son and a daughter, and both of them are grandparents now. So we're great-grandparents.
That's terrific.
But that's how we got started. And when we came into retirement in at Tarpon Springs here in Palm Harbor area, we decided that since the chimpanzees had boxed and wrestled with people down through the years and had helped us earn our living, the very least we could do for them was to retire them with us, which is what we did. And then people started dumping animals off on us, and we made a breeding colony out of it. And this is number 50 that was born on our place. This is the 50th chimp, and she fooled me. I was hoping she would be born during our 50th anniversary year, but she waited until our 54th. So this year is our 55th wedding anniversary year. In September, we'll be married 55 years.
Well, that's a world's record, isn't it?
Something like a world's record, because it's a privately owned family operation, and I don't think anybody else in the world has ever had that many babies born in a
Two
flock.
sets of twins, too.
Oh, my goodness. What was your first chimp's name?
Congo is in the book. He was born in 1948, and the little rascal was born the day before. Well, he was born, he should have been a leap year baby, and he messed us up. So if he'd been born on the 28th, you know, or like he was supposed to be, but he was born on the 29th. If he had been born on the 29th, he'd have been a leap year baby. He was born February the 28th, 1948. Ooh,
Mickey?
she got it. Oh,
Oh, she's okay. She's just trying to eat the mic.
Don't you do that. I don't know if she heard that wire.
No,
or
she's
not.
all right.
Yes,
She's
she
all
did.
right.
You little rascal, you. I wasn't watching. That was my fault.
Well, you advertised your show as the only athletic
The world's
ape
only
show.
athletic apes, and there were several imitators. One of them lasted one night. Another man lasted for one season. And my brother hung in there for 5 years. And when he got rid of his chimp, he told me, he says, look, I got all mine. He doesn't have all his, see? This is from one chimpanzee bite that he lost his fingers. And that was part of the reason that we came to Tarpon Springs, because I didn't know, since he was a juggler and a magician and a balancer and everything, I didn't know whether we could continue, you know, without that. So we bought the place to retire on, and we went on with just the ape show then and didn't do the volleyball
What year
stuff.
was that?
We bought the place in 1954. He got hurt in 53. In the spring of 53, and in the winter of 53, 54, we bought the place.
But you still traveled out of that,
Yeah,
even into
until
1971.
1971,
Yeah.
right.
Well,
Just
what
about.
exactly was your show comprised of?
We put out advertising that we would pay $5 to anyone who tried to put an 85-pound ape's shoulders on the floor, that was Congo, or up to $20 limit if they could hold him down for 4
Well, you're
seconds.
talking about a full-grown man against the little 80.
Two full-grown men.
Three
Three
men.
against a little bitty
And the-
85-pound
85-pound
chimp.
And the chimp would have a muzzle and gloves on, too.
A muzzle
And I'd be on the floor, the men on me, and the chimp beating the devil out of everybody. We had to quit putting 2 and 3 in there because I couldn't help get him off of the fellas, you know.
Well, do they have extraordinary strength?
The
Or?
Guinness Book of World Records, in every issue I've seen, tells of a chimp in New York at the Bronx Zoo who was female, weighed 135 pounds, in a fit of rage, pulled on this meter that they had set up, 1,260 pounds. There's no man on earth that can do that. And 1,000 pounds at 260 is more than a half ton.
Good.
And you think about how strong that is. She was mad, and she had her feet braced, and she pulled that much. There's no question but what she could waylay a man and just commit real mayhem on him.
Our gorilla picture with me and the gorillas back to back is in the Guinness Book now, all over the world.
But the funny part,
That's the
they didn't tell
one on
whose
the back
animal it
here.
was.
Right. That's
And
in the Guinness Book.
The
and
reason
that's
they
me.
did that is because it's such a wonderful comparison shot to show how big the gorilla is.
Now, who is this?
That's
me.
Mom.
That's me.
That's Tommy.
No, who is
Tommy.
this?
Oh, that's
I knew
Tommy.
that was you,
Oh,
Bob.
yeah.
That's Tommy, the one that died of a snake bite or a bug bite. We don't know. He might have been bitten by brown recluse spider or a snake. but he was dead about 45 minutes before the doctor got there.
How did you get most of your apes and chimpanzees and
Well,
gorillas?
in the early days, we bought them from a dealer out of New York City, but in later days, so many people have them who don't want them and have to get rid of them that some of them come in free of charge, and some of them.
One
most
fellow
of them-
brought 3 or 4 in the truck there. We go give us so much to keep them a week. That was 5 years ago, and we haven't heard from him since.
Well, what is the most
In a
you've
big
ever
semi-
had at
We
one
have-
time?
We have 21 now.
Is that the most you've ever had at once?
Yeah, that's enough. That's a whole lot of mouths to feed.
It sure is.
And a whole lot of kids to have a lot of affection for, because we do love them.
2 truckloads a week produce.
Or they eat monkeys eat bananas and what, lettuce and
Celery,
apples and
lettuce,
celery?
carrot.
Puppy chow?
Monkey chow
Monkey
by the
chow.
ton, yeah.
By the-
Purina
good
makes
grief.
monkey chow for monkeys.
That's for laboratory animals, but it's a balanced diet. They could live on that alone, and some zoos feed only that. But we feed a balanced diet with all kinds of greens
Too
and
fat.
fruits and
They're too
vegetables.
fat. Everything down.
Look at the pot belly on her.
Yeah, it's all a fat thing. You know, a lot of people have a real strong feeling against putting any animals in cages. And I know that you have to keep Mickey and the other ones
Well,
in
see,
cages.
the ones that we have mostly are pets or animals that have been born in captivity and have been accustomed to being in small cages. And the cages that they're in before they come here are so much smaller than the cages that they're in once they get here. Because Florida has one of the best, most complete laws on cage size, I guess, of any state in the union. Probably is the only state in the union that has laws concerning that. And
Well, Mickey looks happy to me and very well adjusted.
she is. She's Mama's baby. She's a good little girl. And all of the animals that we have there they all have, I insist on using the name they come here with. We don't change their names because, in my opinion, that would be a trauma for them. They
know their
respond
names.
to their names.
Well, if people wanted to visit Mickey and her brothers and sisters and cousins and aunts, and where would they go?
To the chimp farm.
Where is that? I know where it is because I've lived here all my life.
It's just south of Klosterman Road on alternate Highway 19.
And when they go there, what would they see?
Gorillas, orangutans, chimpanzees, monkeys, a big bear, a big alligator,
Kinkajou,
and some other
Cody
small
Munden,
stuff.
you name it.
Kangaroo and what?
No, kinkajou.
Kinkadoos. What are
A
kinkadoos?
kinkajou is a little nocturnal animal from South America.
They mostly roam around at night with big
It's
eyes,
nocturnal.
the night animals.
Yeah, we have our own zoo right here in Palm Harbor, and I bet most people haven't even been to see it.
They got 2 big gorillas there, and they don't have nothing like that even over at the Busch Gardens.
One of the gorillas does the belly
Thank-
dance.
Thank you very much, and I hope you come to Noel's Farm and see the chimps.
We ran overtime, didn't we?
A little bit.